Philippines has formally inaugurated its latest air surveillance radar system of the Philippine Air Force. This facility was purchased from Japan, which was meant to symbolize a deeper connection between the two nations to strengthen and expand the air and maritime defense of the Philippines.
Climb 130, income runway 03, clear for takeoff.
The Philippines may be preparing to buy another generation of Japanese-built AESA radars from Mitsubishi Electric, even though its military already operates 4 of them. At first glance, that sounds like just another defense purchase. It isn't. Because in modern warfare, a fighter jet can't intercept what it can't see. A missile can't destroy a target that hasn't been detected. And an entire air defense system can fail if its radar misses the first warning.
Ground, Bulldog on intercom. How do you read? Loud and clear, sir. Status is safe for start.
So why does the Philippines need even more of Japan's most advanced radars? Is Manila simply closing surveillance gaps? Or is it quietly building something much bigger, a modern air defense network designed to watch the skies long before a crisis begins? Because this isn't really a story about radar. It's a story about the one advantage every military wants. The Philippines may be preparing for another major expansion of its air defense network. According to defense publication Max Defense Philippines, the Department of National Defense has included additional air defense and surveillance radar systems in its latest procurement plans under the Ray Horizon 3 modernization program.
The Earth is 70% water.
Although neither Manila nor Tokyo has officially announced a new contract, the report suggests the Philippine Air Force could place repeat orders for Mitsubishi Electric's AESA radar systems. With support from Japan's Ministry of Defense and the Acquisition, Technology and Logistics Agency, or ATLA. If that happens, it won't be Japan's first contribution to Philippine air defense. The Philippine Air Force already operates 3 FPS-3 ME fixed AESA radars and 1 TPSP-14 ME mobile radar, all delivered under the first phase of the country's modernization program.
この日本の装備品、今国際的にこの技術の競争が激しいんですけれども、やはり地域の平和と安定に役に立っているということは素晴らしいことでありまして、今後ともさらに防衛装備の移転、また装備開発、そして貿易協力、これに一生懸命頑張って取り組んでまいりたいというふうに思っております。
But here's the surprising part. If 4 of Japan's most advanced radars are already protecting the Philippines, why spend millions on more? The answer isn't that the existing radars have failed. It's that no radar, no matter how advanced, can watch an entire archipelago on its own. The Philippines stretches across more than 7,600 islands, with an exclusive economic zone of roughly 2.2 million square kilometers and multiple strategic approaches from the Pacific Ocean to the South China Sea. That geography creates blind spots that even the world's most advanced radar cannot eliminate alone. According to Max Defense, current planning documents call for at least 4 additional fixed air defense radars under Ray Horizon 3, along with a separate requirement for around 8 mobile radar systems, though those mobile units could come from different suppliers. If those plans move forward, the Philippines won't simply be adding more radar stations. It will be building a much larger surveillance network, one designed to reduce blind spots, extend early warning, and connect the country's future air defense system. And that leads to an even more important question. Why are militaries around the world investing so heavily in radar today? Because before a fighter jet can scramble, before a missile can be launched, before a commander can make a single decision, the threat has to be detected first. At first, buying more radars might sound excessive. After all, the Philippine Air Force already operates 4 of Japan's most advanced AESA radar systems. So why isn't that enough? The answer becomes obvious the moment you look at a map. The Philippines isn't one continuous landmass. It's an archipelago of more than 7,600 islands, stretching nearly 1,850 kilometers from north to south. Beyond those islands lies an exclusive economic zone covering roughly 2.2 million square kilometers, an area more than 7 times larger than the country's land territory. Now imagine trying to monitor all of that with just 4 radar stations. Even the world's most advanced radar can't do it. Not because the technology isn't capable, but because physics gets in the way. Radar waves can't see through mountains. They can't see beyond the Earth's curvature. And low-flying aircraft, cruise missiles, and drones can use terrain to stay hidden until they're much closer to their target. That's why modern air defense isn't built around a single powerful radar. It's built around a network of radars, each one covering the blind spots of another to create a continuous picture of the skies. For the Philippines, additional radars don't simply mean more equipment. They mean fewer blind spots, more warning time, and more opportunities to respond before a threat reaches its target. Because no matter how advanced a missile is, it can't intercept a target that was never detected. The Philippines isn't investing in more radars by accident. It's responding to one of the biggest lessons modern warfare has taught. Look at the battlefields of the last few years. In Ukraine, air defense systems have had to detect and respond to waves of drones and missiles. In the Red Sea, naval forces have relied on early warning to counter repeated aerial threats. And during the missile exchanges between Iran and Israel, hundreds of incoming projectiles had to be detected, tracked, and identified before any interceptor could be launched. Different conflicts, different weapons, but they all revealed the same truth. Modern air defense doesn't begin with a missile. It begins with a radar. Every successful interception follows the same sequence. A threat is detected. It is tracked. Identified, commanders decide how to respond. And only then can a fighter jet scramble or a missile be launched. Break that chain at the very first step, and the entire defense system begins to fail. Because the most advanced interceptor in the world is useless against a target it never sees. That's why militaries today are investing just as heavily in sensors, surveillance, and command networks as they are in missiles and fighter aircraft. Modern wars are increasingly won by those who see first, not simply by those who shoot first. And that's exactly why Japan's AESA radar technology matters. Because if early detection has become the foundation of modern air defense, what makes these Japanese radars different from the rest? If radar has become one of the most important military technologies in the world, why did the Philippines choose Japan? The answer isn't just the radar itself, it's the technology behind it. Known as AESA, or Active Electronically Scanned Array, it's a major leap over older radar designs. Think of a conventional radar as a single flashlight sweeping across the sky. It looks in one direction at a time. An AESA radar works differently. Instead of relying on a rotating antenna, it uses thousands of tiny transmit and receive modules to steer its beam electronically, allowing it to scan the sky almost instantly. Imagine replacing one flashlight with thousands of laser pointers, all working together at the same time. That gives AESA radar several advantages. It can track multiple targets simultaneously, update information much faster, and continue operating even in an environment filled with electronic jamming. And that's exactly the kind of battlefield militaries are preparing for. Modern attacks rarely involve a single aircraft. They can include fighter jets, drones, cruise missiles, and electronic warfare, all arriving at once. To meet that challenge, the Philippine Air Force operates 2 complementary Japanese radar systems. The FPS-3ME acts as a permanent long-range surveillance radar, continuously watching large sections of Philippine airspace. The TPSP-14ME plays a different role. Because it's mobile, it can be moved wherever additional coverage is needed, from remote islands to emerging operational hotspots. If one area becomes vulnerable, the radar can move with it. Together, these systems don't simply detect aircraft. They create a more complete picture of the battle space, giving commanders the information they need before making critical decisions. But these radars are only one part of a much bigger transformation. If Japan is helping build the eyes of Philippine air defense, who is helping build the rest of the network? At first glance, this looks like another military procurement. It isn't. In many ways, it's a reflection of how dramatically Japan's security policy has changed. Just a decade ago, a deal like this would have been almost impossible. For years, Japan maintained strict limits on exporting defense equipment. But as the security environment across the Indo-Pacific became more uncertain, Tokyo began strengthening defense ties with trusted regional partners. The Philippines quickly emerged as one of the most important. That shift became official in 2020, when Mitsubishi Electric was selected to supply advanced air surveillance radars to the Philippine Air Force. It wasn't just another export contract. It became Japan's first export of a complete, newly manufactured defense system under its revised defense export policy, a milestone that signaled a new chapter in Japan's regional security role. And that partnership has continued to grow. First came the delivery of the FPS-3ME fixed radars, then the TPSP-14ME mobile radar, then expanded military exercises, official security assistance, defense technology cooperation, and the reciprocal access agreement, making it easier for Japanese and Philippine forces to train and operate together. As Japan's Ministry of Defense stated, the Philippines is a strategic partner that shares fundamental values with Japan. That statement explains why this story matters. Japan isn't simply exporting radar systems. It's helping build the foundations of the Philippines' future air defense architecture. And if these radars are only one part of that transformation, what could the finished system eventually look like? Here's what this radar deal is really about. The Philippines isn't simply buying more radars, it's building the foundation of an integrated air defense system. Think of it like a city's security network. Hundreds of CCTV cameras watch different streets, but they don't stop crime by themselves. They all send information to one control center, where operators build a complete picture of what's happening before deciding how to respond. Modern air defense works exactly the same way. The radar is the first sensor. The moment it detects an aircraft, drone, or cruise missile, that information is transmitted through secure data links to command centers, creating a single, shared picture of the battle space. Only then do commanders decide what happens next. Should fighter jets scramble? Should a surface-to-air missile battery engage the target? Should nearby naval vessels be alerted? Or is the aircraft simply following its normal civilian route? Every decision begins with the same first step: detection. That's why, when the Philippine Air Force received Japan's mobile radar, Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. described it in the simplest possible terms. It adds our scope of domain awareness. We will be having more eyes. Those eyes are far more important than they sound. Because the radar itself doesn't launch a missile. It doesn't intercept an aircraft. It doesn't win the battle alone. It gives every other part of the military the information it needs to act. Without that shared picture, fighter aircraft, missile batteries, ships, and command centers are all making decisions with incomplete information. Together, they become a coordinated defense network. And that's the real transformation taking place. The Philippines isn't just modernizing individual weapons. It's beginning to connect them into a single system that can detect earlier, react faster, and respond more effectively. So what does all of this actually change? More than you might think. Imagine an unidentified aircraft approaching one of the Philippines' most strategically important waterways. Instead of relying on a single radar station, multiple sensors begin tracking the aircraft almost immediately. Within seconds, command centers receive the same information. Fighter aircraft can be alerted. Missile batteries can be placed on standby. Naval forces can monitor the situation in real time. Not because a conflict has begun, but because the military now has a clearer picture of what's happening. That's what additional radar coverage really provides. Not just more equipment, more awareness, more coordination, and ultimately, more time to make the right decision. That capability becomes especially important across areas like the West Philippine Sea, northern Luzon, the Bashi Channel, the Luzon Strait, and the country's vast exclusive economic zone. These are some of the Indo-Pacific's most important air and maritime corridors, where commercial traffic, military aircraft, and naval forces operate every day. Strengthening surveillance across those areas doesn't guarantee security, but it gives the Philippines a much better understanding of its own airspace and maritime approaches while supporting the long-term modernization of its armed forces. Because in today's battle space, the greatest advantage isn't always the country with the most weapons. It's the country that understands the situation first. At the beginning of this video, we imagined an unidentified aircraft approaching Philippine airspace. The question was simple: would the Philippines see it in time? After everything we've explored, that question takes on a very different meaning. Because this story was never really about buying more radars. It was about giving the Philippines the ability to detect threats earlier, understand the battle space faster, and make better decisions before a crisis unfolds. Every new radar closes another blind spot. Every blind spot removed gives commanders more time to assess, coordinate, and respond. And in an age of drones, cruise missiles, stealth aircraft, and increasingly sophisticated aerial threats, those extra minutes may become the most valuable advantage any military can have. Because before fighter jets can scramble, before missile batteries can engage, before a nation can defend its skies, it must first be able to see them. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson of all. The future of air power won't belong only to the country with the most missiles. It will belong to the country that sees first, understands first, and decides first. And with every new radar it adds to the network, that's exactly the capability the Philippines is quietly working to build.
We also agreed to move forward to discussions aimed at realizing comprehensive equipment cooperation and the proper management of transferred equipment.